Chapter 230. Australith has completed its evolution. As soon as it finished evolving, it did not hesitate to shoot its strongest enemy a stream of concentrated formic acid mixed with spiritual power. The deadly acid streaked towards Chi-Zi, but it couldn't trouble him. With his agile body, the panda jumped very high to avoid it. Suddenly, Australith's mouth approached in an instant. It turned out that the previous move was just a feint. This was really a fatal blow. Chi-Zi was still hanging in the air at this time. It was hard for him to avoid it. Indeed, at this level, the strong decided the victory or defeat in just a blink of an eye. Chi-Zi instinctively covered his mouth and cursed silently. Damn it. Just when that mouth was less than 1 meter away, it suddenly got punched and broke its face with a supersonic counter-punch. A figure appeared in front of Chi-Zi like lightning. Wasn't that Chi-Zi's old winter brother? Right after that, the older brother yelled, "What are you doing? Get serious." Indeed, the older brother thought that this beast was no longer Chi-Zi's opponent, just that he was playing with it. The panda clan was still some kind of unpredictable species. Australith was punched and fell to the ground. When it fell its huge body down, the whole great land trembled. Countless small beasts underneath were crushed to death. Chi-Zi looked up and shouted, "Older brother." He didn't know why he felt an invisible pressure, not before the strength of his older brother, but because he couldn't disappoint his older brother. As soon as the older brother landed, dozens of other beasts from the Australian Corps rushed to surround him. The older brother gritted his teeth, feeling like he was about to burst with the urge to urinate, and the toilet in front was blocked. Damn it, the breath of the divine tree, and that dark guy is right in front of me. In front of him was a huge and extremely solid stone nest. It was originally the nest of the old Australian king, and when the Dark King took possession of this place, he rarely used it more, because it gave him a feeling of extreme loneliness, like having to live thousands of years in an eggshell. Inside the stone nest, the Dark King stood right under the skylight. A golden light shone down on him. Facing him now were 3 clansmen of the God clan: Elephant God, Seahorse God, Dragon God, and even the Divine Tree. Both sides looked at each other for a while. Everyone's head was processing countless information. They tried to analyze each other's spiritual breath and made the first assessments of each person's abilities. The Dark King started to speak first. His sarcastic voice mixed with a bit of contempt echoed coldly. "Oh, so they are all familiar faces. Could it be that these were the old enemies of the Dark King?" It could be said so, because then the Dark King said, "You guys, are you the descendants of those guys? Good, everything can end at the same time." The response was just a strange silence. These God clan beasts probably had nothing to say to a sworn enemy like this. They all directed their sharp, cold eyes at the Dark King and decided to keep silent. At this time, the Elephant God spoke to the Divine Tree. "Divine Tree, we are here to fight with you." The Divine Tree nodded. Originally, the Divine Clan participating in this battle. From the beginning, the Divine Tree thought it was possible, but he never fully trusted that they would definitely come. Have they come? If they have come, then it's good. The Dragon God calmly said, "Unexpectedly this time, you used the spiritual power tide to break the seal." Hearing this, the Dark King laughed cunningly and said, "It's you guys who are the waste. After so many generations, must have been too weak. Even the seal to suppress me can't be kept." Well, apart from this Dark King, no one has dared to curse the Divine Clan in the face like this for thousands of years. These words successfully angered the Divine Clan. They shouted in unison, "You go back to the Dark Sea." The Dark King grimaced and shouted back, "It's you guys who need to go back to the abyss under the deep sea. This is the last battle. I will bury you guys together." Perhaps he was talking about burying them with the previous generation of gods who sacrificed in the process of sealing him many millennia ago. He approached the Divine Clan and the Divine Tree. When he was close enough, he stopped. His right hand stretched out long and large. A monstrous evil hand made of lava was grabbing. This is the dragon catching skill that he bought instantly with the price of 50,000 evolution points. The Divine Tree posed with his left hand to defend and spread his legs like a martial artist, only to see the scorching lava slide past the Divine Tree. The Elephant God jumped high and used his real legs. Launched the Skyfall skill. The Seahorse God launched the water ramp, creating a strong whirlpool. The whirlpool speed getting faster and faster. Is there anything in this world that can resist this supersonic speed water flow corroding? On this side, the dragon god also created dozens of spiritual power cannonballs emitting a strange purple-blue color, simultaneously shooting at the enemy. The Dark King did not hesitate, immediately used the light shield with the price of 50,000 evolution points, just saw dozens of his tentacles flapping like crazy, quickly shaping defense. The moment the attacks touched his shield, it was earth-shattering. The space there was torn. A piece of the great land was shaking crazily. The Dark King laughed and said, "Ha ha ha ha, you guys are bullying me?" But he forgot one thing. That is, the divine tree hasn't done anything yet. Yes, the enemy always blocking his way and is the destined enemy. At this time has clenched his fist and ordered, "The call of light." From the right fist of the divine tree, a beam of light flashed and shot up into the sky. Right after that, a strong, purifying light from above struck down the Dark King. Feeling like his body was bathing in concentrated acid, flesh and skin wanted to be torn and melted out. Can see his tentacles defending firmly were all hit to deform. His light shield has been invalidated. His painful scream penetrated the blue sky. He cursed under his breath and as a habit. Even though he was still under attack, he still opened the system and shopped. Well, bye. But before he could find the appropriate skill, a big fat figure rushed over. "Oh, who is this guy? Do I owe you anything?" "Don't know." But the older panda brother with a face full of resentment rushed over. His right hand was wrapped in green spiritual power, looking like he didn't come here to talk. A Susanoo punch landed straight on the face of the Dark King, causing his mask to crack. Damn, this punch is too strong. Looking at the face of the older panda brother can see, this is the punch that a boy in love punches into the punching machine in front of his girlfriend. No one can stop it. After punching, the older brother didn't forget to curse loudly. "You damn murderer, unforgivable." The Dark King's whole body was falling apart. Why? Because that punch could reach hundreds of tons. It created a destructive force on the object it touched. But the Dark King bit his tongue, not knowing whether he was disappointed or despising his opponent. The divine tree opened its mouth in astonishment. This guy smells of cheesy. Could it be this stupid older brother of his? It turns out that the divine tree has heard a lot about this guy from Ching Chong, also heard more from Cheesy, but basically the divine tree evaluates this guy has a heavy psychological problem, basically a fool. The older panda brother didn't stop. As soon as he touched the ground, he strengthened his body to the maximum and burst out his Susanoo. A huge green panda with an angry face. The older brother declared right away, "Dark Pill, I will end you here today." The older brother's intention is Dark King. As soon as he finished speaking, the older brother rushed forward, charging straight into the Dark King and punching him into dust. The power was too brutal and the approach speed was too terrifying that the Dark King's tentacles couldn't defend in time. He was trying to lean on the push of the older panda brother and streaked back. A deep person like the Dark King couldn't expect his life to face such a brutal and impulsive guy. Don't underestimate a long-term single guy, because once he gets grumpy, even his god will get his teeth knocked out. At the same time, the dragon god also took the opportunity to shoot hundreds of devil power needles. But isn't he afraid to shoot into the panda? At their level, you don't have to worry, the accuracy is absolute. The dragon god aimed at the right hand of the Dark King. This move caused his right hand to be injured and paralyzed. The dragon god wanted to lock his counterattack, protect the older panda brother, and indeed another attack rushed over, not from anyone else but Xiao Ling. She used her hand ready to slash down a full force with both hands. As she slashed, she yelled, "Die!" The giant fire sword slashed down. A tentacle managed to lift up to defend, but his body of solid magma like diamond also couldn't resist this slash. Not purple fire, but just normal yellow fire. But it was refined by Xiao Ling to the extreme. Could burn at the primary level, extremely terrifying. There's nothing she couldn't cut through. The divine tree was astonished. Xiao Ling appeared here? Actually, the divine tree didn't rely on his daughter. He just needed her to live well. Damn it. The divine tree didn't rely on anyone but himself. Perhaps he was about to cry out of emotion. But don't underestimate the Dark King. He recovered extremely fast and a bunch of tentacles opened up and rushed towards Xiao Ling. Wanting to crush her, his mouth sarcastically said to the girl, "Come here, let's have fun." Xiaoling was astonished at this reflex and recovery ability. She was still hanging in midair, so it was hard to dodge. Just at that critical moment, the dragon god stretched his neck and bit off the octopus tentacles of the enemy, saving Xiaoling a life. Suddenly the Dark King felt the space above echoed with the sound of glass breaking. It turned out to be the elephant god with sky fall rushing straight into his head. Just with the speed of rushing made the space shattered. This fatal attack immediately landed on his head, causing his face to crack. His neck and all the spine were broken into many segments. Right at this moment, water ramp of the seahorse god spurted out, tearing everything apart. The tentacles of the Dark King were cut off and scattered in all directions. The Dark King was really cut into thousands of pieces. He sighed at this moment. Oh damn! Then bit his tongue. Still didn't know whether he was disappointed in himself or despising the enemy. At the same time, the second punch of the older brother rushed over. The lonely old panda yelled, "Go to hell!" The remaining head and chest part took a supersonic punch extremely strong. This punch directly penetrated through that hard mask, punched him straight down to the ground. But suddenly the lonely old panda felt something was not right. The body part that he punched down to the ground seemed to have disappeared, evaporating extremely fast. Right after that, the body of the Dark King in the form of dark gas with dozens of blood-red eyes like blood floated up. The panda involuntarily jumped back. Xiaoling also quickly retreated. Xiaoling frowned, not knowing what this demon was planning. Just saw the space was being covered by a breath of primitive death. This guy has too many mysteries, making everyone always have to be in the state of maximum alert. That's also the reason why both Xiaoling and the grumpy guy like the lonely old panda had to retreat. Just saw from those eyes, started to spew out a dazzling light. Perhaps it's a laser version improved by spiritual power. The Dark King aimed straight at the two standing in front of him, are Xiaoling and the panda. This move is too fast, perhaps both will not be able to escape. Only God knows how powerful it is. You have to know that if a strong person at this level can't dodge an attack, it's fatal. The divine tree at the back had time to react, displayed the earth element wall. Immediately the ground shot up a wall made of refined earth elements. At this time, the earth is the best choice. Skills like water or ice could make his attack not only not blocked but also amplified. Indeed, the attack of the Dark King touched the earth wall then exploded. It turns out that refined earth elements can help reduce the impact force of the attack. Making the explosion has reduced a lot of awe-inspiring power. The Dark King was also astonished at this handling strategy of the divine tree. He still didn't know why the fatal attack didn't achieve as expected. But before he was astonished, the gods behind the wall had done one thing. All three were concentrating their power into a light blue light ball full of light. The ball emitted a gentle light, and the spiritual power in it was getting denser and denser. End of chapter 230.